Good morning, everyone. My name's Brandon Hewitt, coming from cold, snowy Ohio. It's about 4:30 a.m. out here, so I'm trying to get this done before the kiddos wake up. I have two young kids that are sleeping, getting ready for school. So, anyways, the topic I want to focus on today is the Jamestown colonists, specifically the early colonists under Captain John Smith's relationship to the Native Americans, specifically the Powhatan Indians. The first dissertation that I chose to focus on was titled Otherness and Leadership in the Early Jamestown Colony, 1607 to 1624. This was completed in March 2016 by Nicole Brown at The Ohio State University. A little backstory here, quick. I'm sure everyone knows about the first colonists, but in the early 17th century, England's main focus was on claiming the lands of North America as it strove to be the leader in the European empire building and country building, basically. The Jamestown colony was established by the Virginia Company of England and became England's first permanent settlement in North America in 1607. The colonists traveled from England in December. They left in 1606. The problem was they had already had preconceived notions of what they would encounter in the New World, including the Indians, the Native Americans. Um, so these ideas already help them form their beliefs of how they would lead their new colony and establish and maintain power throughout the colony. Basically, this preconceived nation or notion by Miss Brown, she states that they believe they had racial and cultural superiority um, over everyone, basically, especially the Native Americans. Um, they also assumed racial and cultural superiority, but found that this worldview did little to assure their survival in the New World once they got there. Their narratives, diaries, and journals, drawings, including writings, affected the ideas that the English settlers and Native Americans had about each other. The writer in this dissertation, Miss Brown, will argue that these sources played a huge role in the interactions between the two groups and in the actions of the leaders of each group during the early settlement of the Jamestown colony. Her study was a qualitative document analysis in which she used keywords and phrases to describe the people themselves, um, and their appearances as they examined to see if a pattern existed that supports the premise of the literature and artwork of the time period, if it influenced the perceptions and the actions of the English and the Native Americans. In her conclusion, basically, she stated that even with their preconceived notions of the Native Americans, um, after the first year, they realized that they actually needed the Native Americans. She states, in the spring of 1607, approximately 100 men arrived on the coast of Virginia from England. The group consisted mainly of gentlemen and soldiers who came to create an English colony in the New World. The main goals, this is key, the main goals of the group were to find precious materials and natural resources that would make the extremely wealthy claim of land for England and, and convert the native population to Christianity, although the conversion in reality was not the primary focus of the colony. Miss Brown also, she concludes by saying, however, once they arrived, their primary goal switched from wealth to survival. Poor leadership and bad planning left the English unable to succeed in the New World on their own, and they became dependent upon the Native Americans in order to survive. The English believed that the American Indians were inferior in every way, yet, in reality, they faced what they faced proved to be the opposite. Um, Now, on the contrary, the other dissertation I looked at was from Royce Gilderstone, titled Toward the Racial Binary, Race, Property, and the Dispossession of Indians in Early Virginia. This was done at George Mason University in 2018. Mr. Gilderstone has a total opposite conclusion to the fact that the English main goal was to come to the Americas to convert the Indians, and they did not need the Indians for survival. And basically, they were at war with them from day one until 1634. He states the dispossession, which means depriving someone of land, property, and other possessions of the Virginia Indians, took the form of a long confrontation over the cultural power of legal Indians. In the aftermath of the Powhatan Wars of the early 17th century, Indian tribes that had been members of the Powhatan Confederacy found themselves categorized as tributary Indians, placed upon reservation lands and bound to strict laws of a fledgling Virginia colony. Tribes not associated with the Powhatan Confederacy were categorized as non-tributary and for a time existed on the periphery of the Jamestown area. Both of the groups became embroiled in legal contests and saw their work ethic questioned, their identity as an Indian people challenged, as well as other obstacles, such as having their children systematically taken from them in the state by the state for indentured servitude. These communities, all living behind the frontier in close approximation to both Euro-Americans and African-Americans, were constantly defending their identity as an Indian people in order to fight off attempts at dispossession. These attempts, I guess, are all examples of the Virginia during the colonial and early Republican era as based on the European understanding of agrarian property and anxiety over racial difference. That, my friends, was Mr. Gilderstone's basic thesis in his writing. You can see a stark difference here between the relationship. Basically, we see two different viewpoints with the relationship with the Powhatan Indians. In closing, Miss Brown believes that the English settlers, even with their preconceived biased views of the Indians, the English were not coming to the New World to convert and take control of the native lands and people. Instead, they would trust and count on the natives to help them survive their first year in Jamestown. Mr. Gilderstone, on the other hand, he believes and writes that the English, with their same preconceived notions of the natives, came to the New World with the goal of converting the Indians to Christianity while controlling them by placing them into reservations and capturing them to work as indentured servants. Gilderstone states that there was never a peaceful time with the natives, instead a constant rift inciting warfare like tactics from day one. Thank you. Have a good day.